The revolution will not be televised.
The revolution will be streamed live. Welcome back to another
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. We just started again. It is Ian Harris,
Ty Barnett,
Critical and Thinking Podcast.
The first Critical and Thinking of the new year, 2019. Dude, do you understand? And remember, someone posted something about the Jetsons. Remember the Jetsons?
Right.
Meet Georgia.
Yeah.
And they said, this is how we thought it would be by 2019.
Right.
Hardly, the only thing I think that's happened is, was that Elon Musk? Is that the dude who put the rocket in the car? That's the closest. He's the closest that's done anything close to 2019.
Belle and I just watched Back to the Future, one and two.
Oh,
and in two, they go back to 2015.
Oh, that's right.
And the only reason I watched two is because I was telling her in one, I said, well, they say that Biff is modeled after Donald Trump. And one of the things is that Donald Trump is super famous and rich and whatever. And
how's that?
But also that the Cubs, they predicted the Cubs would win the World Series.
Yes, which
happened. Well, no, actually, it didn't happen in 2015. It happened in 2016. So they were a year off. But they did predict a few things. But it was funny because we were watching it, and she goes,
Good.
Man, they got 2016 or 2018 way wrong. Because like hoverboards and all this kind of stuff. She's like, this isn't what it's like.
The closest, which, by the way, I bought one of those scooters. I'm sorry, I caved and bought one of those scooters. But I told my brother that I bought a scooter, and he's like, so you bought a hoverboard? And I was like, fuck no. What do I look like? And I actually referenced Marty McFly. What do I look like, Marty McFly? I was like, no. But the closest they came were those little rolling ones, right? That's you haven't gotten the ones that can just,
right.
First of all, I think people's weight is way too much. You got to factor in way more stuff for that. So I don't think hoverboards will ever be a thing. But we did make it to another year. So bless you guys. Hey, Laura, how you doing? Welcome. What's up, Robert?
We got a lot of people. Mel, we got Adam. What's going on? Oh, no audio, guys. What the heck?
No, but then
some people say
they do. I adjusted on here, so hopefully it is work. We're working out the kinks. What's up, Jimmy? How you feeling, bro?
We don't normally do this every time.
But I'm telling you, watch years from now when you guys are watching this podcast and you see we have all our shit together, you be like, man, I remember when they didn't have their shit together. Yeah. So
I remember when they predicted this on Back to the Future.
So I am happy for another year. I'm happy for another year with my friend here.
Yes, indeed.
And I got to say this really quick. Any dog lovers out there? I don't know if you've gone to Ian's page.
Oh yeah, go on my Facebook page.
Go to his Facebook page, yo. We gotta save him.
We got a little puppy named Calvin. It was for my daughter's birthday, which is actually Monday. And we're big dog lovers at my house. We've had like 7 rescues over the last 15 years in our house.
They rescue the hell out of dogs, bro.
And we have 2 dogs at our house now. And we got a little puppy. He's 8 weeks old. Little pit lab mix. He's cute as hell, like one of the cutest dogs I've ever seen. And but yeah, we got him and they rescued him off the streets, and his whole litter ended up having parvo, which is really deadly disease for dogs. But you can catch him, so he's in intensive care. Save Calvin. Hashtag Save Calvin. So I think he's doing good. He's been in for 4 days now.
I see you, JP.
And they basically just keep him on IV because they can't digest or ingest any food. They don't eat. They crap blood. Yeah, look at that.
That's Calvin, you guys.
Pretty dang cute.
That's Calvin. Look at that cutie.
So we got a little GoFundMe because we're working with the rescue that's helping us.
What up, Kareem?
The 24-hour IV and all the stuff.
Yeah,
it's not much different than a human. So it's think about hospital bills of being hospitalized for 7 days to 2 weeks. So it's super expensive, but we're getting help from
see you, Johnny.
Hope for Paws helped us find a good place to do it, and anything.
It's a good cause, you guys. It's a good cause.
Any money we make extra, we'll give to the charity. Or,
that's right.
Or whatever happens, we'll give money to the charity, and we'll hopefully save little puppy's life.
Right.
But he's looking good. It's been 4 days, and
he's past actually the most critical stage.
Yeah, right? 2 to 3 days is when it gets bad. He's still not eating on his own. He's still not eating on his own, but he's looking better, they said, and he's not vomiting, which is good. So
all right. So hashtag Save Calvin, you guys. So let's get right into this really quick because I want people to understand. Everybody's talking about Tiffany and all of this stuff. So let me say this, because I haven't posted anything about it. I haven't posted any comments about it.
You should let everybody know, because not everyone knows Tiffany.
No,
Tiffany
and I know I'm gonna. I should see. This is what I mean. I gotta tighten up my hosting skills. So Tiffany Haddish, you know who she is from Girls Night Out, Girls Night.
I have not gone into the movie theater and not seen a poster of her in the last 6 months. She has 3 films. She must have filmed them all in 3 days.
But
she has 3 movies out back to back.
So she did a show New Year's Eve, and she was a little tipsy New Year's Eve. And long story short, she had a bad set. And again, I want to be very clear when I say this. Nothing but love and respect for this young lady, because I can tell you right now, I heard her story and what it took for her to get to where she is. Hey, man. No shade on her at all, because I know this is a hard fucking business to be in. So the fact that she is where she is awesome. But I saw a post by Pierre. I don't know if you guys know Pierre Edwards, another comedian, old school comedian from like BET back in the day. He posted something basically saying everyone's patting her on the back and saying, no, it's not, it's okay. He took the stance of, hey, and JP, I want to get your opinion on this. He took the stance of saying, hey, no, it's not okay to just tell her that it's not a problem. If she's not ready to headline for 45 minutes on a New Year's Eve show, then she needs help, which is not the problem. Because there are tons of comedians out there that have writers, tons, even legends that have had writers. But when people are acting like it's okay, no, it's not okay. It's not the end of the world. It's not the end of the world at all. Everybody has bad sets, all of them, which, by the way, that's what we're going to talk about as well in this episode. We're going to tell our own personal stories of bombing, just so everybody knows it happens to everybody.
And that's the thing. I mean, I don't know necessarily that you know. I mean, you can like or dislike Tiffany Haddish. I mean, I'm one of those people that, you know, people always ask me, you know, what, like young guys always ask me, oh, what do you think of Kevin Hart? And I always go, I think he's a great actor. Like,
Darby?
No, nothing against Kevin Hart. I just don't. I think as a stand-up, he's amazing in the sense that he's, you know, 80 million people at a show. I mean, he's or whatever the hell he's got. Right. He's crazy. He's killing it. He's huge, and he's really good on stage, and he's really personable. All that from a guy who loves the writing aspect of stand-up and being super original. I used to say, people say, "What do you think of Kevin Hart?" I go, "I liked him better when he was known as Martin Lawrence."
Hilarious.
But my point is that you cannot bash Kevin Hart. Now, and I mean, like I said, I like Kevin Hart. Just as if I'm putting him in the list of stand-up comedians, he's not up there with me because I consider him as a comedic personality who does stand-up. And I think you could say the same thing about Tiffany Haddish. I think she's great for what she does.
She's amazing.
But the thing is that she's been doing comedy for a while, and I think you're allowed to have a shitty set, and I think you're allowed to bomb.
Of course.
And I don't know that she's not ready to do an hour show. I mean, she did a Showtime special, and whether you like it or don't like it, that's I think that's your own opinion, and I'm not saying I do or don't either, but. Like I said, she's undeniable, and I think, like I said, Kevin Hart, totally undeniable. Whether I like him, Dane Cook, another person that people gets a lot of flack. Not my personal favorite comedy-wise, but he's undeniably great at what he does.
But Dane also did more roast. And the good thing about this, and this is why I say, and that's why I listed in the things that we're going to talk about, the pros and cons of having a bad set. Because, this is not a good experience to have because she's such a famous person, so it's magnified tenfold. Like, if she was still Tiffany that before pre girl night,
right?
No one would be talking about this. It would just be another comedian having a bad set, which this was what this should be too, because it's not going to be great. This I always tell people, you're not going to have every night to be your night.
Right.
Now, I always say the pros and cons of having a bad set is the pro. Let's do the pro last, because the con is always, let's get that out the way. The con is that you feel shitty. You feel horrible. You feel like it's the end of the world, especially depending on hey man, I had a show, one of my first shows, I was, I don't know how many years in, but it was a talent night. So it was like all talent. It wasn't like just comedy, right?
Right.
And so
had to go up against a dog doing backflips.
Exactly. Booty shakers, rappers, all this type of stuff. And they put me on at like 2:00 in the morning, which ain't nobody trying to see comedy at 2:00 in the morning, especially after strippers. You can't follow titties. But so I go up.
I used to actually be the house MC at a blues and strip club.
Oh my God.
Well, it wasn't even a strip club. It was a lingerie club because they couldn't get the license for stripping.
Hilarious.
So it was people going to see strippers who didn't strip, and then blues.
Yeah.
And then me.
Well, see, so I do the gig, and I did a joke that the joke kills. It normally, and I'm not saying this just to say it, the joke normally kills. I did the joke, and the girl stood up in the front row, and she was like, "Fuck you." and then I didn't know what to say to that because I was still kind of new to the game. And then another her dude stood up and he's like, "Fuck you." And I was like, "Well, fuck both of you." So anyway, long story short, this went back and forth. Then they did not see, I wasn't handling the audience. I was not putting, I should have handled the audience. Slowly, boos. Slowly, like small smatterings of booze. And since I did not shut it down, it was one of the worst experiences ever. But let me tell you something that came out of that. From that experience, I was driving home the whole time and I said, you know what? I can't wait to do it again. So that's when I knew that I wanted to be a comedian, because that was the most worst possible moment for me at the time. I was like, oh my God. But what came out of it was I knew that I was ready to do it again. I didn't, right. And so, like I said, for her, first of all, she's blessed in so many different ways, man. And let me tell you something, she's a sweet girl. She's so cool. Yeah, and that's really why I said, but I also understood where Pierre was coming from, where he was like, man, now get a team of writers around you because everybody's watching you now. That's right. But
make sure your writers don't, which we keep seeing from other people. Like you hear this about the
What Up Thomas?
I heard that from
Israel?
About what's her name, the one that everyone was saying was stealing.
Carlos Mencia?
Yeah, no, the woman.
Oh, I was dead serious.
The girl. Why am I drawing a blank? Amy Schumer.
Oh, yeah.
Then it came out. People were saying, well, maybe she's got there's no way she's got 9 movies and all this stuff. No way she's coming up with an hour every week to do a new special. I mean, she seems like she's what she was doing a special every month. It seems like for the last year.
Right.
So she must have had a team of writers. So when people are like, oh, that's a Kathleen Madigan joke and that's a Whitney Cummings joke. Or that's a whatever, Wendy Liebman joke or whoever it was that she was stealing jokes from. People say, well, maybe it's her writers going out and sitting at the back of the Improv and just writing down jokes. And I think that's don't do that, Tiffany. don't hire writers.
No. But that's what I'm saying. I don't think she'll allow that to happen. I think she will have a team of people around her that will do for her what she needs, and that's the lesson that will come out of this. That's why
I'm available for hire right now.
But I also feel like, there are certain times in this business where
her next special will be called Tiffany Haddish Mansplaining. If I write for her. It'll be like, this sounds like it's all written by some white dude. What the fuck?
Why is she wearing glasses all of a sudden?
Right, exactly.
So I feel like there are certain points that could be made on both sides. Yeah, it's never a good feeling to not have a good set, and because it sits with you so fucking long. So long that shit sits with you, bro, right. Until the next set. And then when the next set comes, you feel like, okay, hopefully it's some redemption. What's up, Toby? So the point I wanted to make out of all this is the people...
Couldn't she steal something funny?
No, dude, because you know what? I got to tell you, man, I heard her story, dude, and I got to be honest with you, man. Fuck. Like this is awesome that she's having this type of success, dude, because I've heard the stories of of the shit that she's had to deal with. So to me, hey, especially if you black in this business and you making it, you making it. But I do say the comedian in me is also, what's up, Lil Rob? The comedian in me is like, yo, now that you have this platform, which is major, now get a team of people around you that's going to help you maintain that level. And that's all. I think that's all Pierre was saying.
I got to say, like, I mean, maybe her stuff is. I can't speak to it because I haven't gone and seen her movies. But how quickly these movies are coming out and watching some of the previews, I'm like, someone needs to help her wade through what's a good script. Don't just take every script that you're the lead in, because it seems like she's done 3 films in a row where you're like,
bro, no,
like
but I get that.
When I saw the preview for that Night School, I'm like, did they shoot this on an iPhone?
No, I get it.
Like,
I get
what
that.
The heck?
I get that, but let me tell you something, bro.
Fisher Price editing there, like what the my first Avid, like what the fuck was that movie? Like I can't even imagine. Like I'm like Kevin Hart and Tiffany Haddish star in my first project. It was like, seriously.
Hey, anyway, I
didn't make the movie. I want her to succeed. I do, but it's like
you are right about this.
People are gonna be like, dude.
No. You're right about picking scripts. What up, Lil Rob? How you feeling, bro?
I'm just saying.
What up, Marty?
You don't want to go Encino Man or whatever. You know what I mean? Like
no, but here's the other part though, dude. And this is why I say you have to look at the totality of where this person specifically came from.
Right.
If just merely 2 years ago, 2 years ago, 3 tops.
Right.
You were homeless.
Yeah. No, it's
Homeless. No, hold on. Homeless.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden, someone's throwing millions of dollars to you to take
totally
this role. I'm gonna tell you right now.
Yeah.
I'm taking every goddamn role. Every role.
Right.
It could be like fucking night school, party school, bar school, cocktail school.
Tiffany, we want you to do White Chicks 2 or white dudes.
I'm taking every fucking script.
Yeah.
Because again, it's different when you've had that privilege of, okay, now I've had this kind of string. Now I can do this. But when you're trying to build this,
Right.
oh shit, she's taking every shot which aptly she should do. I'll never tell a comedian don't take the deal if they give it. I will tell you, once you get the spot, make sure you can hold down the spot. That means getting people around you that can help you.
But what? But
she had a bad set,
and also make it. My thing is, take those roles, but do everything you can to make them as good as possible because you do have. I mean, although you can take the money and run and be done with it, but you also have one shot. People have people.
Will Ferrell movie.
People will just. I mean, if she does 3 really shitty movies in a row. People are gonna just bye. We're done with you.
Oh no. I think
I don't want that to happen either. I don't want to see in 10 years she's homeless again.
That's true. I get that's true. Which, by the way, I took my kids to go see. Aquaman was a great movie, by the way. It was really good. You should go see it.
I haven't seen
it.
But
we went to go see Holmes and Watson, which I wanted to be.
Speaking of Will Ferrell movie,
I wanted it to be funnier. You know what I'm saying? Right. I wanted it to be funnier. So
it's really hard because. I don't know. I haven't seen it, but Will Ferrell. What makes Will Ferrell funny is if he has a mustache. If he doesn't have a mustache, it's
Tiffany,
unfunny.
JP. No, wait. So wait.
Was he wearing a mustache in this one?
For part of a scene.
So that must have been the scene that was funny. Because that scene. This summer, Will Ferrell in a mustache and 70s attire.
My God.
That's what makes it funny.
Ian is on
and
one
then he comes out. Oh, I'm in a mustache. They go, oh my God.
Ian is on one today, but no, we fell asleep. So
we saw Wreck-It Ralph. That's the only movie I
How
seen.
was it?
It was good. The second one, although I hate when people fuck up the opportunity for a good pun. The movie is called Wreck-It Ralph. Breaks the internet. I get breaks the internet as a thing, but that's an opportunity to go Wreck-It Ralph. Wrecks the
Hilarious.
His name is Wreck-It Ralph.
I got you.
Come on, it's an easy.
Maybe that was taken.
Yeah, exactly.
What up, Michael?
But by the way, real quick, we last time we were here 2 times ago, we lost Penny Marshall. We lost somebody to me. I don't know if you're a big fan. I was a huge fan, but we just lost yesterday. We lost Bob Einstein, who is Super Dave Osborne. And he's Albert Brooks's brother.
I did not know.
It's hard to believe.
I did not know that.
I always thought his name was Dave growing up. I'm like, it's Super Dave. But I was a huge fan of.
I know, right? Was it Showtime? Was the Showtime Super Dave specials? What was those?
Well, yeah, but he started on Bizarre, the John Biner show, Bizarre.
Oh wow!
And Super Dave, he was the producer. He come out, cut, this isn't gonna work. No, John, we got it. It's just not working. And he was pretending to be the producer.
We just added a new impression to Ian's repertoire right
Super
there.
Dave Osborne. That's one that everyone's gonna get.
You think? Well, I don't know. See, but I know the voice because I know the guy, so I know.
Right.
You're right. I wonder if they would get that.
But Bob Einstein. I guess it was yesterday. So unfortunate.
R.I.P. and support to his family and all that.
Yeah, man,
I'm still tripping off the Albert Brooks thing. I did not know that. That's. I want to. I do have footage of them together.
So wait, there's another comic in trouble. And let me state before I go into this, because you know how the internet is. Like you say one thing, and all of a sudden it's like I could say, you know what? I don't think what Louis C.K. did was that bad, and then 2 minutes later it's going to be Ian Harris is an alt-right Nazi. No, I'm not. Okay. But Louis C.K., did you hear the audio?
No, I didn't hear it.
Okay, I heard the audio. I actually wish I had it to play because I was getting all this kind of stuff. People saying Louis C.K. is bashing the kids from Parkland, and he's bashing transgender people, and I was like, what the fuck? I know first off, if you think Louis C.K. doesn't do stuff for shock value, come on, you're a moron. Second of all, this isn't surprising. I think Louis C.K. 50% of what Louis C.K. does, I think is really amazing and brilliant. Right. And 50% of what Louis C.K. does, I think is the dumbest shit and
wait. So the audio, was it?
Okay, so I could probably find it and play it, but this is basically what he does. He comes out and he says, And for me, I think, well, first off, let's be clear. Somebody audio taped this at a show.
Right.
So he's working out jokes. It's not the final thing. We don't know what it's going to look like in its final form.
Right.
We've all
He's
done
riffing.
Yeah, basically. And he's getting laughs, and it's kind of appealing to a right wing. I feel like he's maybe like, okay, well, I lost my liberal fans with the Me Too shit, and I'm in trouble now, so I'm gonna appeal more to a right wing pro. I don't know.
Right.
But to me, he was doing a self-deprecating shit that he always does, and he just hadn't he needs to over-explain it that he's making fun of himself.
But did he say something in reference to the Parkland kids?
Yes. What he said was, he goes, when I was a kid, he goes, I think the generation nowadays are a bunch of wusses, pussies, whatever the deal was, something like that. And he said, when I was a kid, we were idiots. He goes, we smoked weed, we got, we did all this dumb shit. He goes, we were morons, we were idiots. He goes, nowadays the kids, he goes, what are you putting on a suit and you're going in front of Congress? He's basically saying they're too good. But then he says, you don't do that. You push the fat kid in front and you get the fuck out of there or whatever, like in a school shooting, it wasn't funny. The jokes weren't that funny. I'm going to say that.
Here's the thing. And this is why I say, I get the whole trying to do it for shock value and all that. I get it. But bro, kids were killed.
No,
man.
dude, you're not. Don't tell me.
I'm not saying you.
Yeah.
I'm saying to him and the people who don't understand why that's a fucking problem to make a joke about that. Kids were killed.
I agree.
So there's, and don't get me wrong, as a comedian, for as long as I've been a comedian, I have an open mind about certain.
Right.
There's certain things I don't joke about that and I can't tell anybody what else to joke about. But there's certain things I don't joke about. Hurting kids is one of them.
Right.
Like
I agree, but my point is that what he wasn't doing, he wasn't like, these Parkland kids are. He was saying, I'm a moron. When I was a kid, if there wasn't school shootings, but if there was, I'm not organized and cool enough to go put on a suit. And he goes, come on. His whole premise is, which is funny because Doug Stanhope did a premise like this 2007, which was really funny, about this new generation is going to be the only generation where old people complain about, but in the reverse order. Because when we were growing up, the old people would be like, you kids today with your rock and roll music and your drinking and your drugs and your bad influence. He goes, now it's going to be the other way around where people are going to be like, these kids today are a bunch of pussies. When we were kids, we did crazy shit. And so his whole premise is, I thought kids were going to be crazier, and they're not. I was crazier and dumber than the kids now. What's wrong with you, kids? Every generation is supposed to get crazier than the generation before them. That's the premise of the joke. And his point is, no, you've got your shit together. You're not supposed to put on a suit and go talk to Congress. You're supposed to, whatever. It's not a great premise, and the joke wasn't great.
I get that part. I'm just saying that when you have a situation, you know what?
I know he could have done something other than kids who got shot, and also
that's
here's the other thing is that's not the generation. It's not like every kid in generation is going through a school shooting. It's a handful of small kids, which is kind of dumb.
But that's my point, is that if you're talking about something that really happened recently, and if you're on top of the fact that the government hasn't done anything to fix it.
Right.
So it's kind of hard to joke about some shit where people aren't fixing the problem. It's like telling jokes about Flint, Michigan, and they still have dirty water.
Well,
you know what I'm saying? So I get what he was trying to do. I get where he's trying to hash out the premise, because believe me, you do not. There's certain.
I have a joke about Flint, Michigan. I actually do.
That you do?
Yeah. You've seen me do it. Well, what's the joke about chemtrails?
Oh yeah. No. But that's not making fun of the people that with the problem.
No, I agree. But I'm saying we're splitting here. I don't think he was making fun of the people with the problem so much.
No, I'm not saying he was making fun of them. I'm saying that it's hard to talk about that.
Right.
The
other part of the joke that everyone's upset about is that he says, oh, and they're so whiny nowadays. They want to be identified as gender neutral or whatever, which was a stupid fucking way of saying it. But the premise was what he was trying to get to. I know it's dumb, but what he's trying to get to, which I did think he could maybe make it funny, which I do think is weird. He goes, they want to be called they, and so his joke is really about people wanting to be called they,
right?
Which I think I'm kind of like, yeah, maybe we should come up with a better pronoun. Because he goes, they is weird. And the part that the joke doesn't make sense, he goes, they want to be called there. Oh, you're a place now? You're a place now?
Hilarious.
You're
Somebody
a location?
said make a joke about anti-vaxxers.
Oh.
I thought they did that already.
I had a joke about anti-vaxxers, and then Jim Jeffries did almost the exact same joke on a special, so I dropped it. But yeah, so Jim Jeffries has that. But
you can also check out Ian's version on Extra.
Oh, yeah, exactly. On 2 years earlier.
Yeah, 2 years ago.
But no, I think there's something in that. Why do you want to be called they? You know, he goes there. You want to be called a location, which it's a different there, Louis. It's THEIR, not THERE. But the point is that's where the joke was that could be funny that isn't making fun of transgender people.
And that's all,
but he comes out with, oh, you're so whiny. It's like, come on, dude.
Which again is
why are you going after the?
Let me give you a prime example of why it depends on what you lead with and how you say certain things. It depends on how you lead with it. If you call a pineapple, you can call it a pineapple. It's not as big of a deal. But here's the thing. Like we did a show.
Yeah, it's Tracy, by the way, Tracy Barkley, very funny comment. She says, "Look, I'll call you a pineapple if you want. It's not a big deal." And that's the thing. If to me, if you come up to me and go, "Hey, man, from now on, I want to be called they," okay. Why the fuck do I care? I don't give a shit what I call you. Like, if
no.
Then if I go out of my way to be like, "No, dude, dude," then I'm an asshole.
I'm talking about and how you lead with it.
Right.
Example. A friend of me and a friend did a show to come back to Bad Sets. Me and we did a show in Detroit. Right, the hood of Detroit. Shout out, rest in peace to Kool-Aid, by the way. Very funny Detroit comedian who passed away last year. But anyway, it was one of those hood rooms, right, in Detroit.
Right.
All right, not the suburb, Detroit. My friend, who's from Connecticut,
not Grosse Pointe.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. But he leads in talking shit about Detroit. Like his first couple jokes is talking shit about Detroit. And when I tell you, the audience was like, we don't want to hear a fucking word you say from now on. Like, they didn't want to, because he let it, even though he could talk, he wanted to try and talk trash about where he's from later, they had already been like, well, no, you already trashing us. So when Louis C.K. is starting with, there wussies, and they're like, oh, bro, you of all people should know how to deliver this type of thing.
Which is why I think even the Parkland kid joke, if he really beats it over the head with, man, I'm disappointed in this generation because I thought they were going to be crazier than me.
Yes.
And I'm a fucking moron. If he goes, I'm a moron. He goes, and here's the thing is he goes, they pushed them in front of the fat kid and got the hell out of there, which is bullshit. Now, no one pushed the fat kid in front of him and got out of there. That's not how the Parkland kids survived. If he had changes that joke, again, though, he's working it out, so I don't know what's going to happen. But if he had said that joke is, come on, guys, you're too clean cut, that's not what you do. What you do is you push the fat kid in and you run away and you go smoke a joint in the parking lot. That's what I would have done. Then he's the butt of the joke.
That's my whole point.
Instead, he's going, they pushed a fat kid in front and got out of there. Well, they didn't.
But that's my entire point is that we should know he's a vet. He should know, hey.
But then again, we don't know what the final product's going to look like.
But again, if you say the Lions suck after talking about the other teams that suck, then it's more acceptable. You can't go right into Detroit saying the Lions suck.
Do the people in Detroit even like the Lions?
You can't take that chance. I don't know. It depends on the city you're from. If you're from a city where they can
don't say shit about Barry Sanders.
There you go. It's off limits.
You can't do that. So Barry Sanders.
So
he's a great individual.
He did get in trouble for a little bit, but it's.
But also, he's under a major microscope because
every word you say is going to be scrutinized. Every word you're going to say is going to be scrutinized.
I was talking to Andrew Norelli, my comic friend Andrew, about this the other day, and we were talking about when is he going to. He has to at some point address this on stage. I don't know how he's going to do it, but he needs to come out and make amends on stage and do a bit about the whole shit that he got in trouble with. Right?
Yeah.
So I want to know when he's doing that and how he's doing that. That's what I want to see. I want to see him come out and actually.
It says, our
Danny. He actually trains with me. He's one of my.
It says, my roommate has a friend that only wants to be described as they and gets mad when I accidentally say she or her. I can respect her wishes, but that shit is confusing.
You know what though? I will be honest, and I said this when we had Marissa on. You weren't here, but we had Marissa on and
what up, Avi?
And Maurice co-hosted. But I said this to Marissa that I get
We're talking about Tiffany and Louis C.K. right now.
I get how it is hard. And I'm not trying to equate, so don't fucking bash me for this shit either. I'm not trying to equate changing your name with having a different gender identity or whatever, however you call it, whatever that's called. But when my mom changed her name when she was an adult, like a young adult, like in her 20s. She
changed her name.
Her first name.
Okay.
So her name was Susan, her parents, and she changed her name to Dawn. So my entire life she was Dawn, okay? Since she changed her name when I was like 4 years old or something. But her parents, to their dying day, refused to call her Dawn. Now, she took it as that they were going, fuck you, your name's Susan.
Right.
But I think that her parents, they were alcoholics and whatever. I think her parents just couldn't, they knew her their whole life. They named her Susan.
Right.
So every time they saw her, they're like, Susan. So it's like, I get it if you have somebody, I have several trans friends, and there's a few that I've known for years as one gender.
What up, Vince?
And now they're a different gender.
Right.
So it's really hard for me to not call them by their dead name. Accidentally sometimes I go, sorry, when I meant to. And I immediately correct myself, which I think is what you need to do. But I get, sometimes you misgender people or you call them by the wrong name if you've known them for a long time as something else. It's just how it works. Like, it takes a while.
Avi said I changed my name to Cassius Clay, but people still call me Avi. Hold on, I want to see what Reggie wrote here for a second. Reggie said freedom of speech is being attacked, especially for comedians, no matter how good the joke is. People need to stop videotaping the show and putting it on social media. I get that, Reggie. I get that, and I think that's part of the reason why Chappelle likes to have the phones taken and all that. But the other part of that is, I still feel like there is this hypersensitivity, but there also should be a part of the comedian that says, okay, well, let me figure out how I navigate through. What's up, Jackie? How do I navigate? Happy New Year, by the way. How do I navigate through this society? Example, right? If someone comes to you and they say, hey, we'll pay you $7,000, Ian, to do this show, and you get the money right after the show, but we need you to stay away from talking about religion. Would you do the show?
That's a tough one. I don't like censoring myself ever. But I think if you come up to me up front and say, this is the show, I'm not a fucking idiot. And I know that
no, that's what I'm saying. They come
I would say, I would probably go, sure, I can do a show that's not about religion.
So you can do that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, if you say, hey, I'm paying you $7,000 for this week, and then day 2, you go, hey, man, I need you to stop talking about religion. I'd be like,
point taken.
Well, you booked my ass knowing what I do.
Point taken. That's fair. That's fair.
Then I would go fuck yourself.
I'll do it for $5,000.
You're hired, obviously.
but so my whole point is that to Reggie's point, yes, there is become this more hypersensitivity, but there's a hypersensitivity across the country. Like, the country is hypersensitive. Right. But I feel like as comedians, especially if you've been doing it for a while, like if someone says, okay, here's a joke that you got to do, but we want you to put it on TV. I guarantee you every comedian will go home and try to figure out how they can get that joke on TV so they can be on TV. So they'll figure out a way to write it. Right. There are times where you say no. Like, I remember doing a Tonight Show one time, and they said, well, here's a joke. I said, here's the joke, and they said, well, you can't say McDonald's. So I had to figure out, is the joke worth me doing this, or is the joke worth me doing that? So I'm saying that when
I love Burger King.
But since we're in this society of hypersensitivity, and as comedians, I feel like we do still have this. One, you got this ability.
Were you doing a show for McDonald's?
No.
Why could you not say McDonald's?
The sponsor, but I think the joke was the joke was kind of making fun of McDonald's, and McDonald's was a sponsor of the show. Okay. And so they do commercials, so I can't be on the show talking about how shitty. How shitty McDonald's is, and then they put it on the thing.
You're like, it's too bad because I had this really great joke about how amazing McDonald's was. No, you can do that. No, it's your rules. It's your rules.
Exactly. So I'm saying that we have to be aware of the world we live in and all that, because we also have to make a living. So you say we have families to feed. So if someone says, Ian, I'm going to pay you $7,000 but please don't talk about religion. But to your point, and you're absolutely right, if they wait till after you start performing and then they see your show, say, we don't want that. That's like with the people walking out on Wanda Sykes' show. Like, first of all, you know who Wanda Sykes is.
Well, I want to know what Trump supporters going to see a Wanda Sykes show in the first place. It's like a while ago when Trump was there's a band Social Distortion. Social Distortion. They're a punk rock band, and some Trumpster went to the thing. There's a video of it online where he goes up, and Mike Ness, who's known as being he's a lead singer of Social Distortion. He's known as being a little bit of a hothead, and he's a fucking punk rock singer. And some guy went up there talking Trump, and he goes, come on up here. And the guy started rah, 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 talking Trump, and he went down and fucking punched him. Yeah. And everyone got all crazy. Oh, he shouldn't punch. It's like, what the fuck are you doing going to a concert and then talking trash to Mike Ness?
And that's why I say like, that's where the problem is on the other side of the hypersensitivity that Reggie was talking about, is that it's McDonald's colon blows. But if you go to a show, especially here's the good and bad thing about people recording shows. The internet is everywhere. So you can see everything. You can very rarely be surprised in today's society, right?
Right.
So if someone says, okay, well, Ian Harris is performing, Ty Barnett is performing, and if you can Google hours of stuff. You can go look. You can look and see what Ian talks about. You can get his special, Critical and Thing. You can get Extraordinary. You can see my special. You can see issues. You can get the albums on iTunes and all of this stuff. So when people come to shows and then act like they're offended at the show, then that's a problem on them. But the thing I'm more so saying is, if you come up with a new joke, if you come up with a new idea and a new premise, and you're like, okay, one, how sellable is this joke?
Right.
If it's not a strongly sellable joke, then you got to think, I must really love this joke in order for me to push it. In order for me to push this joke, I got to figure out how to deliver the joke. We won't do a whole lot on Trump, but I will tell you this. I've done jokes where if I changed one word, I've changed one word in a joke, and it helped me deliver the joke. That doesn't mean that you should censor yourself. It just means that we still have a public. And this is what comedians and performers have to understand. This is what people like Louis C.K. has to understand. You still are performing for a public. This is a changing public. And let me tell you, and sometimes this shit is frustrating. Hip hop. I was playing Eric B. and Rakim for my daughters, right? I played one of the best verses in hip hop. I play one of the best verses. I take 7 MCs, put them in a line, and add 7 more brothers who think they can rhyme. Well, it'll take 7 more before I go for mine, and there's 21 MCs ate up at the same time. I played that for my daughters. Both of them looked at me like, what is this bullshit? So you see what I'm saying? It's a different generation. You have to understand.
Yeah, this is not Common Core math.
Right? You see what I'm saying? My point is that it's a different generation coming up, and we're veterans, bro. That's what we are. We're veterans. So I see your point of the aftermath.
And still no healthcare. Different veterans. All right, sir.
But I get where you're coming from. If they come in middle of your show. Right. Yes, but if beforehand,
or if they tell you, what if someone's getting, I love all your jokes. I want you to take all the jokes about Trump and make them about Obama.
Well, remember what happened to you after the show, and the guy said he didn't like your set, and then you said, well, did you like the jokes about this? Yeah. And you tell
which is funny. Well, so we do the divided comedy tour, and we say, first off, we're at a theater. Yeah. That was in Mount Vernon, Washington. We were at a theater, so you had to buy tickets to it wasn't like you went to a comedy club and, who's at this? Well, let's go see comedy at the Laughs this weekend or whatever, or the Funny Bone. Oh, cool, some comic. Oh, I don't like this guy. We're going to buy tickets for $25 at a theater because we saw the thing in the paper or heard it on the radio.
Which advertises everything that we talk about.
It says right on there, race, religion, politics, parenting from 2 different perspectives. Divided. That's what it says. And dude comes up to me after the show and goes, yeah, I didn't like anything you had to say. Well, first off, there was the guy that said, I didn't like how you called my girlfriend a bitch. I was like, I called your girlfriend a bitch? He goes,
he thought that Ian was from way up on the stage was looking directly at this girl who was way in the back.
Yeah, because what I said something about Ty and I got up on stage together and we were like doing a little thing back and forth. And I said something like, oh, if you like that, well, fuck you, bitch. And I was saying in general, like to whoever that person was.
Muhammad?
And he thought I was talking to his girlfriend 50 rows back.
Way back.
That I couldn't see past row 1. And he's like, well, I didn't like how you called my girlfriend a bitch. I'm like, I called your girlfriend a bitch? I didn't even know. He goes, that's why we walked out. Okay.
Which is funny because she walked up wearing a shirt saying, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. But no, that guy said, he goes, I didn't like anything you said. I go, you didn't like anything? I was up there for like 45 minutes. You didn't like anything? I go, you didn't like this joke? He goes, oh no, that was cool. You didn't like my jokes about astrology? Oh no, that's bullshit. Oh, what about that Bigfoot shit? Oh, that Bigfoot thing was funny. Oh, what about the jokes about the cops and racial inequality? Oh no, that was cool. So what didn't you like? Oh, that joke about Jesus. Oh, that 5 minutes in my act
one joke
means you didn't like anything I had to say, and you came to a show that advertised race, religion, and politics.
But that's my point: is that these people are going to exist, and so those people I give no credence to. None. You were mad about one thing because that one thing offended you. But in the big picture, if you're talking about a sensitive topic, and again, kids getting killed is a super sensitive topic,
right?
It's almost like sometimes when I see people who still listen to R. Kelly, where I'm like, wait a minute, so you haven't heard anything about this dude? You haven't heard shit? Nothing about this dude? And they're like, well, he just makes some good music. Okay, so then you've
apparently you've never seen Aziz Ansari. He loves R. Kelly. R. Kelly's the greatest ever. I love R. Kelly. By the way, does he have a bit that's not does he have a bit that's not about how he saw a hip hop or R&B star? Everything is, I was at the store and I ran into Jay-Z. Jay-Z's like, hey, what's up? He's no Kanye. Like, that's every fucking bit of
hilarious.
I saw Kanye West one time. Hey, but I love R. Kelly. That's
but that's my point, is like they act like this stuff is brand new. So when it comes to censorship, be across the board with it. You can't tell me that this whole time you've been cool with everything that this dude has been doing.
Right.
But a comedian says a word and you're pissed.
Well, that's the thing, and Tracy says on here, comedians are the I've always been the litmus test for society, and I agree. And the thing is that I would never tell Louis he can't say what he says, and he should be able to. And the thing is that Louis
what up, cuz? I see you.
Louis done way more offensive stuff than they, oh, don't wear a suit to Congress. You push the fat kid in front of and got the hell out of there. That's not remotely the most offensive thing dude's ever said. It's not. Just that he's under a microscope, and it's like all of a sudden kind of out of left field. Like, why are you making fun of these kids?
And that's why I say you have to be even more aware of what you're doing. Dude, let me tell you something. When you tell a joke, like if you tell a joke and you tell it in a club versus being on television versus having a magnifying glass on you, it's a big deal. So whether it's fair or not, you have to be careful in your words. It's like sometimes, like, on Facebook, sometimes we're talking about censorship. I see you, cuz. Sometimes when people will write shit, and you know how I am, I suffer no fools. I don't come on my page talking no bullshit, no nothing. But I realize some people will call me. I mean, I get people who call me names off the bat: moron, idiot, all of this shit, right? And when I'm writing them back, I have to write them back the most polite response. Because I know anything that I say, like if they call me a name and they go off on me and say, you a bitch, they're like, if I say the same thing to them, do you know they could take that screenshot? They take that screenshot, put it up and say, look, Ty Barnett called me a bitch. So I got to be careful in what I say, as unfair as it is. But the fact that you have that kind of magnifying glass on you, hey, what's up, Carson City? I see you. It's just, you have to be more aware. I didn't say it was fair, but it's a part of being. I mean, shit, the dude made fucking $35 million and lost it like that. Yeah, you got a magnifying glass under you, bro. It's just what it is. This is what comes with the business. Right. The downside, the good side of that is that you still have that platform, and but he'll be fine in the big picture.
Do you think he's just doing jokes and he's just going after whatever because it's edgy, or because he thinks it's funny, or whatever the deal is? Or do you think he may be rebranding himself to go more toward?
I hope he's not doing
that right wing.
I hope he's not doing that,
because he's like, because I mean, maybe I don't know that he would do that, but I kind of think, all right, well, probably a lot of his liberal fans probably left him because they're like, I don't like the thing that happened
jacking
with
off on people.
Yeah, exactly. So
I like how you
trying to skirt around that. I don't know what you got.
It's like, hey, you know the whole kind of thing.
That whole thing you did with the girls and the thing, but. They're like, yeah, I'm not going to support this guy anymore. So do you think it's like, well, I got to go after this audience that doesn't give a shit what you do and who you do it to?
Which I sincerely hope that that's not the case, because
I don't think it is. A whole other thing. I heard people talking about that.
But I do feel like we have this responsibility to, like, I got asked to do a college show, and I won't mention the booker's name only because the dude jacked me out of some money years ago. This is a couple years in the comedy. But the dude was like, man, I need you to be clean. I need you to be super clean. And you got to be really clean. And he kept stressing. This dude called me 3 or 4 times before the show and said, hey, man, I'm just telling you, you have to be clean. You got to be clean. So I'm like, all right, cool. So I go up there, kids in the audience, like kids. I'm like, I thought it was a college, but it was the first day of the college. So people were dropping off their kids and they're bringing the little ones, right? So this is why
everyone's got a blanket and some graham crackers and some milk.
Kids are like, don't scar me. But I'm doing my set.
And Louis C.K. was like, you're a bunch of assholes. Look at you, assholes.
He will get a response from Louis C.K. pretty soon here. But I did the show, right? I finished the show. Come to find out, the reason why the dude was stressing so much was because he was trying to get this contract. He was trying to get this contract with the college. Right. So if you show that the first day that you bring clean comics like this, then he's going to give you this contract. So even though I did not know that, but I said, okay, I got to do a clean show. So I went and did a clean show. I censored myself for that moment. And if the money would have been better, I probably wouldn't have been as pissed. But the fact that he made me jump through these hoops.
Right. You just censor yourself.
Exactly. It is the problem. But the fact that I was able to do it is the professional part. Just like you can. Like I told you, if they do come to you and they say, Ian, we'll give you $7,000 to do a show without religion, I'm sure you can do it.
Right, yeah, totally.
It's just, like I said, we don't want to have to do the shit because you feel offended after you saw something later. And
also this idea that, I mean, there are comics out there, and I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that, and I'm not saying that there's anything that it's better or worse, but I am specifically, and I think most comics I know, we have our set that we're either working on or a set that we're doing. Not that I can't change it up, but I'm really weird and OCD. Like I know exactly what I'm doing. I know exactly what order.
You should see this dude before the show.
Seriously,
you should see this dude.
I write out my set list. I keep it up there just in. I rarely reference it.
A new set list every night.
Yeah, and even if it's the same one before, but I keep it and I go through. I know exactly what I'm doing. So if 5 minutes before a show you're like, oh, you need to take out all of this.
Right, I got this.
Well, I'm just supposed to. They go, oh, well, you just go up there and riff. Now I got to go up and riff clean for 15 minutes. You.
That's fair.
Like that's what I don't get. Is like you can't tell me this right before a show because I have a set planned.
No, I get that.
Like, I think people think that we don't have set plans and we just get up there and talk.
And which is why.
Where is this? Or it's like when people give you a joke. When did you see me do a street joke?
Well, actually, I hate when people come up and say, "Hey, here, put this in your skit." Put this in your little comedy skit.
Right.
What up, Courtney? So here's my thing.
Those are always the most I always get the racist jokes. Always the guy like, oh, you might appreciate this. All right, so there's 2 Indian, and you're like,
because they think he's one of them.
Right, exactly.
I
go, what? You think this tiki torch means? That I gonna?
So what? I have a swastika on my forehead.
Yeah, just because I do comedy with a tiki torch and a swastika. Yeah. And my show is called Make Comedy Great Again. You think I can do this joke?
I just feel like that there's a double-edged sword with being in this business. And believe me, I've done some shows where I'm dying inside, bro.
Right.
Where I'm like, I'm sitting there like, oh, how much longer do I got to do this bullshit? But I know I'm doing it for a purpose. I'm like, hey, I know the check is going to clear at the end of the fucking night. But with that same token, we have to understand something in 2019. Remember there was a time where they wouldn't even say bitch on television?
Right.
Now, that's commonplace. They saying it in cartoons. Right. Times change. This hypersensitivity about everything needs to be we need to curtail it a little bit. That doesn't mean don't respect somebody for being different. That doesn't mean that at all. Always respect somebody like that because you don't know that person's story. I always tell people that empathy.
Yeah.
My issue with it is when you're so hypersensitive that you sound just as bad as the people on the other side.
Right.
Don't do that because I can tell you right now, if I say to you Merry Christmas and then you say Happy Holidays, sir. Shut the fuck up. Just fucking stop.
Right. But vice versa. If I say Happy Holidays,
either way,
you don't need to go,
I don't care
Merry Christmas. Okay, Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah, bitch. How about that? Like, what the fuck?
No one's gonna get upset. Only people getting upset about that is people with nothing else to do.
Right, exactly.
Here's my theory on certain things. People that got all their shit together rarely complain about other people doing shit like that. You ever notice you never see like Oprah snap on motherfuckers?
Right.
Oprah never snaps on people. Oprah's just like, look, here, eat this pizza I recommended, read this book, and I'm good. It's the people for some.
And you get an ass whipping, and you get an ass
That's
whipping.
right. That's right.
No,
It gets a little, it gets a little pussification in there, Courtney. That's true. I just also feel like you still can respect somebody and find the way to say certain things. Like, don't get me wrong. Yeah, you no need to be calling anybody the F word, the N word, none of that. You don't have to. If you can't express yourself without using those words, then yes, the problem is you. But if you're talking about somebody that's just like okay, I put it this way. And again, please take in context everything I'm about to say. Because when I saw the video, I didn't notice that it was a dude in the store. It's a video of a guy in the store who's, I guess he's going through a transition, right?
Oh, I saw that.
And the dude is, the guy, I guess the clerk mistakenly said, sir, to him. Right. And so the dude keeps going off and the guy says, hey, man, he keeps apologizing. Like, hey, man, I'm sorry I called you sir. He's like, it's ma'am. It's ma'am. But again, he has bass in his voice. Right. And he's saying, it's ma'am. You better call me ma'am. And I'm like, bro, but you still sound like a sir. You still do. And like the dude was built like a fucking wrestler. So I'm like, in that sense, first of all, the dude apologized. He said, I'm sorry. The dude went and knocked shit over, all of this stuff. I'm like, bro, you are not making a good case for being called a ma'am right now. You're not.
Well, here's my thing though. I think, I saw that too, and it's like, okay, the guy first off,
the guy apologized,
and the guy may have made a mistake. I've done that where I've not even dealing with somebody who's transgender, just where I've accidentally said, "What's up?" Okay, good work. No, I say that sometimes in martial arts. I call people. I go, "Yes, sir. No, sir. Whatever." Like, and I've said it to a girl. Yes, sir. I'm sorry. Yes, ma'am. Whatever. Like, just because I'm so programmed to saying yes, sir, or whatever the deal was, doing it, So the point is that obviously in this case, one person's hypersensitive about it. My thought is like, okay, you apologize, you move on. Yeah. Then you should accept that apology and move on. Now, if the other guy keeps going, no, sir, I'm going to call you sir, sir.
Then the dude is wrong. The guy is wrong for doing it because he already told you what his problem was.
Right.
You called him.
I want to be addressed this way. Okay. Like Tracy said earlier, I'll call you fucking a pineapple if that's what you want to be called. I don't give it. It doesn't affect me at all. But that's the thing is, anyone who that affects, that's, again, like you got some weird baggage. If you say, hey man, I want to be called ma'am, and I go, no, you're going to be, well, what's wrong with me? Yeah. Why do I care what you want to be called?
Exactly. And that's why I said the hypersensitivity on both sides. But this has really only been in the last couple years that has been like this. But here's the number one thing. And this is what I think, this is what I hope will help people. Understand that your life is your life. The other person's life is their life. Right. The fact that we want to control other people's actions and thoughts and mannerisms and all that from our own private little area as well, that's the problem on us. Let that person be called what they want to be called. But if the person makes a mistake, because we are going through a transition, it's like I said earlier, this is a transition in our country. This is a transition in the world.
Yeah, we have to. Everyone's going to make mistakes.
Everybody,
as long as you own up to the mistake.
That's it.
And correct it later on. Do your best.
I can't even say that, Courtney.
No.
I can't say that.
Sorry. That ain't cool. But why? I don't get why, though. You want to be called whatever the fuck you want to be called? You call it. Like, it doesn't.
That's what I said.
It doesn't affect me at all. If you want to be called sir or ma'am or fucking whatever.
It is all about respecting that person's space on both sides. Because again, just like it's a transition for you, it's a transition for that person as well. Now, like you said, if the person was continuing to be like, nope, I'm gonna call you what I want to call you. Okay, now it's on you, bro, because he's clearly told you what's making them uncomfortable, and you clearly keep doing it. If you're not listening to that, now it falls back on you because he's made it addressed. But you can't go off on the first time like, oh, okay, and the dude, he keeps saying, I'm sorry. He's like, dude, he said, I'm sorry. So hopefully, we will start the year off by saying this: everybody should be respected unless you fucking with kids. Then kill them. Kill them.
Well, I mean, but the thing is, respect for your space and for your life, that just for living is automatic. Respect for your beliefs or your actions is earned.
Yes.
And that's fine. Earn that shit. But there's no automatic disrespect. See, that's the other thing. I don't have to like overly respect, but I also don't have to disrespect you for no fucking reason. Like, that doesn't make sense. Like, that's just straight. Well, we're actually getting over on time, and we still need to do our little I see Tracy. But you're also a comic, Tracy. You're probably we're used to a lot of hearing a lot of shit.
Yeah. Believe me, I've gotten called names where I'm like, bro, can we at least we haven't even said hi to each other.
Right.
Like, goddamn, like it automatically you're like, asshole. Stop. Okay, so look.
So we're gonna do a little. Let's talk about the next few minutes. Let's talk about New Year's resolutions, and maybe we could talk about come up with somebody like what we think certain famous people's New Year's resolutions would be.
Okay.
And we'll do that for this. So we do this for the last 5-10 minutes. We do a thing for the Patreon. If you're listening, if you're watching live, it's a different story. But if you're listening,
thank you for tuning in. By the way,
if you're listening to a podcast which is on iTunes or Google Play or Stitcher, we have a Patreon. It's patreon.com/critical and thinking.
Right.
And if you watch it, you get the video portion instead of just the audio, and you get to listen to the second the second piece of this, which is we usually do something funny. We try to do some comedy. We try to do some impressions. Try to do something different.
I just want to address something that my cousin said. Charlene just said this is a touchy subject. That's why we talked about it because it is a touchy subject. But here's what I think. Real quick, I won't stay on this long. I just want to say when people say we shouldn't talk about these things. We have to, because otherwise you'll have another incident like that where somebody gets upset about something.
Right. That's the only way for people to know what people are thinking and what people want.
Now this dude knows that he made a mistake by calling this person.
Whatever. I don't know. Which she might want to be called they. I don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
He know he made a mistake. So now it's been addressed. The problem is when people act like, oh, well, let's just, what are you doing?
I'm not wearing pants.
So what are you... I'm trying to say something serious here, Tracy. What are you doing? So yeah, the whole point is that the reason why we talk about it, because, I talk about race, I talk about politics, religion, all this stuff. And I feel like we are way better people than we're acting like. We're way better people than we're acting like. Because I see it. Well, movies have been made about how good we can be when we want to be. I've seen news stories about how good we can be.
Some of us.
Yes. I think once we get to a point of having true empathy for another person and understanding what they're dealing with, that is when stuff will get better. That's when we will be able to truly look at each other and as different, but as equal. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? As soon as we get past that, but this acting like, oh, we shouldn't talk about it. No, we got to talk about it because this is what's happening.
That's right. Separate but equal.
Stop it. Right. Love everybody. It's the glasses and the bald hair. Don't blame him. It's his heritage.
But let's, so for those of you, please, go on critical. If you're listening to this on iTunes, and go and like it, give us a review, rate us. It helps us out a lot. Share it, tell your friends. We're gonna keep trying to do the Facebook Live thing as much as possible, but Stitcher, Google Play, all the places where you can download this. That's where it lives. So please, Critical and Thinking, go to patreon.com, Critical and Thinking, and it's like $2 a month to see the second part of it and support us and see the video portions and all kinds of stuff. Please do that. Helps us out a lot when you do that and keeps us going.
You can find me on comediantybarnett.com, which has the links to the Facebook, the Instagram, and the Twitter.
And me, I'm Ian Harris, comedian.com. Okay. Yes, Ian Harris.
Mediocre. So cool. All right, let's do it. What are we doing?
All right, so second. So, all right, everyone listening, bye. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, Tracy. Hey, everybody that tuned in, thank you for tuning in. Peace, love. May you have a prosperous and happy new year.